Tonight, from Jamaica, the legend of Lou Nanne. Lou received his college degree and as a naturalized U.S. citizen went to the expansion Minnesota North Stars.
In 24 hours, you went from player to general manager and coach.
The very first game I went to with the North Stars, somebody said, watch this guy. He would switch seats 3 or 4 times in the press box at the old Met Center because he was so superstitious. If the North Stars scored a goal, he'd sit in the same spot. But if somebody scored a goal against Minnesota, he'd be all over the place.
Occasionally was critical of the job he did as general manager. I got a call from his office on a Friday afternoon. He was mad about something I wrote and demanding he wanted to sit down with me at the office. I did it. I drove out there on a Friday afternoon, just screaming, just yelling, pointing, gesturing. And then 5 minutes later, we're best friends again. As Louis got the bit, he understood the media role, but he wanted to get it out of his system. That's all people in media, quite frankly, can ask for, is that you don't hold a grudge. Louis didn't hold a grudge.
He just had the passion. The name of his book is The Passion to Win, and you could see that on Lou, the way he managed the game. So Louis hires Herb Brooks, the 1980 gold medal hockey coach, to coach the Minnesota North Stars. And Lou gets up at the beginning of the news conference and says, we have a 5-year plan to turn the Minnesota North Stars into a success. Herb gets up and said, Lou, if you have a 5-year plan, how come you signed me to a 3-year contract? And that was just the start of it.
The broadcast gene, I think, has been in him from the beginning.
He said, Lou, that you learned to speak English after you came to the university. Is that right?
Yeah, I spoke Canadian till then.
He crossed over in a way that very few of them do, because he was always training himself, even as a player, doing interviews, doing shows way back before it was fashionable for players and athletes to cross over.
People, the fans yelling, Lou, Lou, Lou. You're really thinking, I boo, boo, boo.
That isn't true, and nobody really knew.
In this business, we look for characters, and Louis a character. I always used to tell Louis, I said, Louis, I saw your highlight reel. It's a slide. Because he's been around for so long. Lou never walked into a broadcasting booth unless he was prepared. And I don't care whether it was somewhat of a meaningless high school hockey game or the Stanley Cup Finals. Louis walked in there prepared. I think he used his skills, storytelling skills, his connection skills, his knowledge. He could have talked way above where he was at, but he was concentrating on that person sitting on his couch watching the game, hoping their team would win the Stanley Cup or hoping their team would win the state championship.
There's nothing he can't talk about. He just knows how to communicate. He knows how to engage, and it makes him much, much more than just a hockey guy.
And that was the key to his success in broadcasting. Louis could connect with the audience. When you felt his voice, you felt more comfortable. When you heard his voice, you knew it was a state tournament. And you knew Uncle Lou was going to take you home.
And welcome to semifinals Friday night. Semifinals, and Luke, what do you expect tonight?
Well, I expect a real good game between these two teams.
It's not like Louis ever going to yawn at a good play. How long has he been in hockey? It's obviously over half a century, and yet he could be just as tickled by a good save in a state high school tournament. He's seen it all, and yet he still allowed himself to be surprised, to be pleased, to be concerned about whatever took place in any of the hockey games at the state tournament. That's gold.
Please join us in honoring Lou Nanne.
I'm trying to make an analogy, Tom. It's like warm soup on a cold day, or those slippers you put on. It's just comfortable. When you heard Lou's voice on the state hockey tournament, it was just comfortable. And you knew that, the godfather of hockey was going to take you home, and this was going to be a fun game to watch.
He just had a way of delivering stuff that was folksy, times urgent when it needs to be. No one can be quite like Louis because nobody is like Louis. All the stuff he brings are so unique. His whole story is unique because, he's not one of us. We like to talk about that in this state. Was he born here? No. I've always put a couple people in the category of they may have transcended the fact that they weren't born here. Bud Grant is one, And I think Louis the other. I don't think any people in this state who talk about you can't really be one of us, you weren't born here, I don't think they hold that against Louis at all. He might as well be one of us. That's the degree to which he has just sort of enmeshed himself in basic Minnesota fabric and culture.